Although Dragon Ball Daima ended weeks ago, we actually have a new relevant interview relating to the new Super Saiyan 4 form along with Daima in general. Specifically, a creator called Sofian Le Geek managed to get an interview with Katsuyoshi Nakatsuru, where he asked if Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan God Goku have a connection, if Super is an alternate timeline, who's stronger between Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Daima, and Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and more. If you're unsure of who Katsuyoshi is, he not only had a hand in the original Dragon Ball Z anime, but he also designed the GT version of Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and he had a hand in Dragon Ball Daima, which you can see here. For this video, let's go over the main questions and relevant stuff that happened in this interview. And just for context, the interview said that it had been almost 20 years since I last worked on a project like this at Toei. This time, I felt like I was even more deeply involved in my work than before, just to give some context for the later part of this interview. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, let's go over one of the main questions, which is, what were Toriyama's instructions for the creation of Super Saiyan 4 and Daima? For Dragon Ball GT, Toriyama only provided a few guidelines for the character's creation, whereas for the Daima version, he was much more involved. We really wanted to create a character that fully reflected Mr. Toriyama's vision. This goes in line with the revelation a few days ago where it said that Toriyama designed the Super Saiyan 4 Goku for Daima, which in my opinion does look really good and is currently one of my favorite transformation designs for Goku, although the arms and hair stuff is kind of like the only eyebrow raising part and quite controversial for a lot of people, but for me I've pretty much just gotten over it. Next question that got asked, which I found amusing, was, Super Saiyan 4 Goku in Daima has the same colors as Super Saiyan God Goku in Dragon Ball Super. Is there an actual connection? Unfortunately, I cannot really answer that because I didn't work on the design of Super Saiyan God in Dragon Ball Super, so I wouldn't know. Unfortunately, it was one of those answers where it doesn't really tell us anything and pretty much keeps things mighty vague. But if I were to personally put in my input, I don't think there is an intended connection. No mention of a connection between the forms was mentioned in Dragon Ball Daima. And let's be real here, these people already know, at least on the surface level, about God, Blue, and Ultra Instinct. If there was a connection, it would have been told to them. Could it eventually be revealed that there is a type of connection? Sure, in the future, maybe. It's possible, anything's possible, but for now, not likely. Super Saiyan 4 is its own thing and its own transformation above Super Saiyan 3. The third important question that gets asked is, Super Saiyan 4 doesn't appear in Dragon Ball Super, but Akio Iyoku has stated that Dragon Ball Daima is a canonical sequel to the original manga. Should we then consider Dragon Ball Super as an alternative sequel to the original manga? His answer is, I don't know, it's a possibility. I worked quite intensively on Daima, but maybe there's a deeper meaning behind all of this that I'm not aware of. I took this as essentially meaning that it's possible that Super is an alternate timeline, but he doesn't really have an answer. There's no definitive statement, as he says it's possible, but basically he's probably in the dark regarding the whole canon and timeline stuff, with people constantly trying to tie Daima to Super for some reason. Eye roll. An interview with someone at the top is the only one who can really answer this type of question definitively. Will we get that? Don't know. But yeah, in other words, there's no big time yes or no answer, there's no smoking gun here. And then Sofian asks an amusing question, which is, who is stronger between Super Saiyan 4 Goku from Dragon Ball Daima and Super Saiyan Blue Goku in Dragon Ball Super? Even though I think the answer to this question is very apparent, I'll state what he says. Laughs, shaking his head as if to say no, at least that's the interpretation by the person who translated this. In the end, it doesn't really matter who wins. They're both very beloved characters, but maybe Toriyama sensei put a lot of energy into Super Saiyan 4, so maybe that one? My interpretation, he doesn't really feel like he's in a position to answer this, and even if he did answer it definitively, it would cause a lot of misinterpretation and power problems, more than which already exists in the show. Personally, I wouldn't outright ever say that Super Saiyan 4 Goku from Daima is weaker in an interview, because you still want to have a form look very strong, and saying that it's weaker could possibly take away from it, even if the feats and power scaling is very obvious. And here is a bit of a bonus. It's asked who is stronger between Kid Buu versus Buuhan. If you don't know, there's a whole thing in the anime that people have been arguing about for several years. You know, Kid Buu versus Base Super Buu, Kid Buu versus Buuhan. It doesn't really help that the anime version of Dragon Ball Z doesn't make it any easier. And quite frankly, if someone were to say that there's a huge amount of consistency within the Dragon Ball Z anime, you'd be a tool. but especially because the anime kind of screws things up. And yeah, unfortunately, Katsuyoshi says that it's a very difficult question to answer, which naturally makes sense because chances are he's not really going to keep up with the fan debates and the power scaling that goes on within all of this. This is a question that you have to ask someone who's kind of at the top. Anyway, kind of another bonus question is, I guess something that, you know, people might want it to know is, why did Toriyama create another Bardock? He's different from the one you designed, but he still canonized your design in a panel of the original manga. To which Katsuyoshi answers, Toriyama sensei acknowledged Bardock in the original manga, and I remember we were all very happy in the studio. I can't explain why he was later revoked, but even today I feel very honored that Toriyama sensei integrated those characters we created into the original work. So yes, I would say that overall this is one of those interviews where it unfortunately doesn't give us a lot of insight and a lot of important reveals and info. There's no like smoking major gun, but you know what? You have to give your hats off or your credits to the person who interviewed Katsuyoshi. Not many people in this fandom are in any position to actually interview someone as important as him, as well as even the other, as well as probably Akira Yoku or Mr. Toyotaro or Toyotaro. So yeah, we still have a lot of unanswered questions, and well, to me, I think that it's very possible that we may not get a lot of answers to our questions anytime soon. Personally, the way I see that they could go, I don't think that we're gonna get an interview anytime soon that kind of like the smoking gun to whether Dragon Ball Super is officially recognized as an alternate continuity, or if Dragon Ball Daima is recognized as an alternative continuity, or if it officially ties in with Dragon Ball Super without messing things up. I've already went over this in my previous videos where I don't think it is. But you know what? Yeah, you know, it's like we're kind of starving for information here. Let's be real here. Everyone is starving to know like the entire history of Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Daima and how powerful it is, because, well, like, yeah, we might have power scalers here and there giving their own input, but we don't really have a definitive statement, because even in Super Saiyan 4 Goku, he was already reduced and damaged, so he wasn't really fighting at full capacity in the King Goma fight. So yeah, probably one of the best interviews we're gonna get in a long while. Don't really expect anything major to come anytime soon unless it deals with Akira Yoku or Toyotaro. Yeah, that's just the sad reality. But yeah, that's it for now. Be sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all next time.